Hello and welcome to another episode of The Quiet Green. It is so exciting seeing a lot of the teams named from various NOCs around the world and athletes getting ready to head to Milano Cortina for the various events and some of the most incredible venues we will see and some of the most incredible sport we will see anywhere in the world this year. And today we're looking at freestyle skiing and snowboarding. And from an Australian perspective, it is a bumper series of events. From Scotty James in the snowboard halfpipe, along with Valentino Guseli in the men's, and then Indra Brown, the teenage sensation in the women's freestyle skiing. And then, of course, with the moguls, Jakara Anthony, the Beijing 2022 champion, and Matt Graham heading to his fourth Olympic Games, and aerial skiing with Laura Peel and Danielle Scott. It is a series of events that Australia has really become a world force and a global sensation. We can't wait to see what comes out of Milano Cortina 2026. A lot of hype on Scotty James and Indra Brown as well. We've got the snowboard cross athletes. There is no Bell Brockhoff, but Josie Baff has been in great form and is rising. Jared Hughes is back, Cam Bolton too. And we're talking to Chad Buchholz today. He is the FIS Park and Pipe Media Coordinator and a font of knowledge when it comes to freestyle snowboarding and skiing. The big air competitions, park and slopestyle, the pipes as well. Chad has covered the sport extensively for a very long time and is based out of North America but travels all over the world covering snowboarding and skiing. And it will be great to break down exactly what we're looking forward to, but some of these international superstars as well. Eileen Gu on a skiing side of things is phenomenal. What she did in Beijing was massive. Has American roots, but has been competing for China and was one of the absolute superstars of the Beijing 2022 Games. And Japanese snowboarders are in peak form. We'll ask Chad about that too. And Chad focuses mainly on the park and pipe area. So I won't be talking to him about snowboard cross or parallel slalom, the snowboard giant slalom parallel competition. Esther Ledeck is a name to keep a very close eye on. She's competed in the snowboarding and skiing events in the past and has won the past two women's parallel giant slalom gold medals at the Olympic Winter Games. So she has competition this year, but the snowboarding events start on Friday, the Friday of the opening ceremony. And a lot of the events are up in Livigno, and it's a brilliant facility. 5 different competition areas, all funneling down into the one finishing zone. So we'll ask Chad about that too. But didn't ask Chad about Indra Brown, recently turned 16. There are a lot of names that Indra is going to have to get on top of in terms of the medal standings, but her form has been incredible and is the world number 1 in the freestyle skiing standings. So an Australian you will hear a lot about, if not already. And it's a big event for her and a genuine medal chance, but she has some very strong competition when it comes to the big events at the Olympic Winter Games in Milano Cortina. But the history for Australia in aerial skiing is massive. When Stephen Bradbury won his individual gold medal in Salt Lake City 2002 in the men's 1,000-metre short track event, soon after that, Alyssa Camplin won the women's aerials, and that was the second individual gold medal an Australian has won at the Olympic Winter Games. And the history in aerials is massive. In mogul skiing, it's been huge as well, and Jakara Anthony continues that theme. But there is so much to be excited about, and these are some of the glamour events in terms of what you can see, the death-defying manoeuvres and stunts that the athletes are doing. And Australians are coming in terrific form. So there is a real chance of gold medals in so many of these events, and a good chance and opportunity now to talk to one of the experts in the field and find out what we can be looking forward to. There's no doubt the stars of Milano Cortina will definitely be found around the halfpipe up in Livigno and the freestyle ski and snowboard. And joining us to set the scene and tell us all about some of these incredible athletes and what makes them tick, but also the sport tick, is Chad Buchholz from the FIS. He's FIS Park and Pipe Media Coordinator. Chad, thanks so much for your time. How are you?
Good, my friend. Good to be here talking to you.
The halfpipe is an iconic event, certainly from a snowboard perspective. And it feels like going into these games with the freestyle ski and snowboard, there are established stars, superstars in every single one of the disciplines. Is that sort of the feeling heading into these games?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the Park and Pipe uh, squad, like you said, there's a lot of established stars and a lot of people who are really on their way up, who are
Hmm.
going to be household names, I think, by the end of this games. But yeah, it's these events have been in the game since Sochi now, so 12 years, and there's some guys who are competing who were there for that first go around in Sochi for actually, I mean, I'm thinking of for slopestyle specifically. Obviously, Pipe's been there since 1998. But yeah, no, I think that it's not, the Park and Pipe events aren't so much the new kids on the block anymore. They're pretty established as big time, heavily viewed Olympic events at this point, and yeah, with the star power to go along with that for sure.
Starting with the snowboard halfpipe, certainly from an Australian perspective, Scotty James has gone bronze, silver, and all of Australia's waiting to see if he can go one more. But he's at the peak of his powers. He's set new marks at the X Games. He's had the Netflix documentary come out, and there's a huge amount of buzz. But he's got a Japanese contingent. I think there are three Hiranos right there as well, and a 20-year-old Australian Valentino Guseli who is in great form too. So while there are those established stars, there are plenty of other people who are set to make a real fist of things as well, aren't there?
Yeah, I mean, Scotty's actually, I can't remember if he's 31 or 32 years old now, which is kind of ancient by Park and Pipe standards. I was looking at, I was into the database a few months ago, and I think our average age on the World Cup is 20 or 21 years old. So he's definitely, just about the oldest guy dropping in the pipe. But also, Scotty is such a tactician that he's managed to not just stay amongst the leaders. Like he is at the top right now. He won the Lax Open. He won the X Games, the last two his two warm up events before the games in Livigno, and he's built a run that's so hard for anybody else to beat from a technical side of things. The components he's got in place are just exceptional on every hit, and I've heard he's actually got a little bit more in the bag in the tank than we saw at X Games or at Lax. So while the Japanese are definitely coming into this thing looking for a sweep,
Mm.
probably on both the men's and women's side, Scotty's run is going to seriously hinder their ability to realize that goal because it's just so technically hard to top. And
Mm.
then you throw in the fact that Ayumu Hirano, the reigning gold medalist, had a super gnarly crash in Locks 2 weeks ago that I think he broke his nose. He definitely injured his hip. Like he's coming into it wounded, so his ability to defend is going to be severely limited by that. Um,
We've seen, I was just saying, we've seen massive crashes in the pipe before. Certainly, I think of Sean White and what he came back from and reached the heights that he did. But can you set the scene for people who aren't quite familiar with just how big and daunting a snowboard and ski halfpipe is?
yeah, it's essentially a 7 meter deep, yeah, U-shaped monolith of ice is how I would describe it. I usually take a little slide through the pipe before every competition we have, and just getting to the lip is terrifying. And I'm a pretty
Mm.
good snowboarder, I'd like to think, or at least I used to be. Um, then you throw in the fact that they're doubling that again sometimes on some of their airs. So we're talking, 12, 13 meters from the flat bottom to where they are in the air. And we've got guys now in locks. We had I think 7 different athletes trying triple corks, and five or 4 or 5 of them landing successfully. On top of everything, I think someone did the math on the number of rotations in a half pipe run, and it's something like 7.5 or 8,000 now. Like it's 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 insane. The size of the pipe, actually, there used to be smaller half pipes, but they went to this 7 meter, 22 foot super pipe because it's actually safer. It gives the athletes more of an out to land on the wall rather than in the flat bottom or on the deck. So
Hmm.
it's insane how big it is, but it's also safer than the smaller options. And these guys are incredible athletes with incredible air awareness and incredible ability to fall. but stuff still does go wrong sometimes. That we saw with Ayumu a couple weeks ago,
Mm.
and yeah, he was lucky to walk away from it, to be honest.
Scotty James has a huge amount of attention on him from Australia, but also the snowboard and extreme sports community. Valentino Guseli has set some real marks of his own, hasn't he? He's known for his height and his sort of elevation that he gets. But what kind of a snowboarder is he, and how much of a genuine chance is he to take a medal away from Livigno and Milano Cortina?
Yeah, Val's my boy. I've been there. I've been there at the bottom of the pipe and the slope and the big air course because he's a triple threat. I've been there since his first day on the World Cup, and we've become pretty good friends. And he continues to impress me. He's coming back from ACL surgery at the start of last season, and what Val has done is he's got that explosive amplitude, but he's also very. He's got a very intelligent approach to the pipe. He's got this ability to land good runs when other people are struggling, whether it's due to the conditions or the shape of the pipe or whatever. Val's is his mental game of being able to look at the pipe, the conditions, his competitors, and put together a run that puts him up there amongst the top three is really impressed me this year. And he's got a couple of podiums, including at Locks a couple weeks ago, that he's like Scotty, he's got a really well built run, but he's got this ability to land cleanly
Mm.
um, against all, not I wouldn't say all odds, but he finds a way to put down clean runs when other people are struggling, no matter what. So I don't want to say he's immune to pressure, but he seems pretty built for it right now, even as only a
Mm.
20-year-old. His mental game's strong, his snowboarding's incredible, and I think he's got a good chance, to be honest. He steps up when it counts.
We're excited to see that. But
Yeah.
on the women's side of things, Chloe Kim has something I read was that in previous games, and I was lucky enough to see her win the gold medal in Pyeongchang, and she was just doing things that no one else was coming close to doing. But that's now changed, and Choi Gaon from Korea is going to force Chloe Kim to produce her absolute best. What's the rise been like from Choi, and how excited are you for this battle, and how excited should people be?
People should be very, very excited for this women's
Mm.
competition. Gaon, she actually, speaking of Lax, she 2 years ago broke her back at the
Mm.
Lax Open, and missed the rest of that season. Came back last year and was a little bit tentative, and she was in the mix a lot, but she wasn't dominating the way she is this year. And this year, she's 3 for 3 in World Cup
Mm.
victories and starts, and she's honestly doing it with not her best stuff. I know she's got more in the tank. But again, she's similar to Val in that the amplitude's always there. Technical runs done cleanly, and she rides in a way. And this is not to take anything away from Chloe, but Gown looks like the more confident rider this year. Chloe hasn't been snowboarding a ton over the last couple of years. Her strategy's kind of sit back after the games and then slowly
Mm.
sort of, well, actually, I wouldn't say slowly, maybe quickly try and get back into shape just in the year and a half before the next games. And
Mm.
she actually fell training a few weeks ago and separated her shoulder. So she's said she's going to be good to go for the games, but like Ayumu, she's coming into it behind the eight ball a little bit with an injury. So, and it's not just Gaon too. There's the young Japanese girls coming up. Rise Kudo and Sarah Shimizu are both incredibly talented
Mm.
riders. Sarah's got a run that I think is actually going to blow people away. I think that in
Mm.
my mind, she might be the front runner for the gold just based on what I've seen from her limited action because she's only done locks and I think that she won X. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I mean, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, but Sarah Shimizu is probably going to surprise a lot of people who haven't heard her name yet. 16 years old,
Yeah.
both her and Reese are just 16 years old, so it's incredible. The Japanese pipeline for half pipe is it's like a factory, like a Bugatti factory, just pumping out the best of the best.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, it's great to hear the enthusiasm and from somebody who gets such a front row seat to just be so, I mean, just keen to see it go down. So I think we can all feed off that
It's
and be looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, half pipe at the Olympic Games is the most one of the most incredible shows I've ever seen over and over and over
Mm.
again. Every time I've been, it's just like mind blowing. It's a perfect spectator sport too. I mean, it's right there in front of you. Each run's about 30 seconds of just explosive action, and yeah, no, I'm super hyped for that. Nervous, slightly
From
nervous. I always I feel like
yeah.
team dad at the bottom of the pipe, just hoping everybody
Yeah.
lands and has fun. But
Yeah, very fun. From an Australian perspective, how should people be expecting Amelia Haskell, Emily Arthur, and Masaki Vaughan to go?
all those girls have been definitely putting in the reps, building up runs that are going to have them in the mix for finals. I mean, maybe Masaki's a little bit tougher. She's quite young, you know, and she's experience is huge in pipe. That's like I said, well, I said like the average age is 2021. I mean that's there's a big I forget how old she is now, 17 or 18. Um,
Hmm.
there's some maturity that goes along with pipe riding too, where it does can skew a little older. But yeah, I mean they're those girls they'll definitely be in the mix, I think, for a final spot. But it's going to be tough to crack that top end. I mean, it kind of goes the Chloe Gaon, the Japanese girls, Elizabeth Hosking from Canada,
Hmm.
and there's actually I think there's another Korean girl who's quite good. Whose name I can't remember right now, but yeah, the top sort of 10 are pretty locked in really when it comes to pipe. It's pretty consistent results wise.
The venue at Livigno, there are five competition areas all funneling into one finish area, and they're really excited about sort of the atmosphere that will be created. But in terms of the scale of the pipe, and we talk about the big air and the slope style courses, what should people be expecting from those events?
Yeah, I mean, Big Air is. I don't know if you guys have seen the structure they put together there, but it's a massive massive ramp sitting there just on the edge of the town of Livigno. And Big Air, I mean, Big Air, one of um, the the things that that people for a long, long time have been doing with big airs, you can just build that venue and take it to people in cities and stuff. You know, the air and style Innsbruck was one of the biggest big
Hmm.
air competitions that's ever taken place. And they'd have 45,000 people in the stadium in Innsbruck to watch big air. So it's, if you have the money to build a ramp, you can take it to the people. And that's going to be the vibe there. That's going to be a big party, basically, is what I'm getting around to saying. It's nighttime. It's going to be, it's big air night events are always a fun show. So that's going to be a rock show. And then slope too. I mean, you can see the whole slope course just from the bottom there as well. It's the setups actually. It's incredible. This is something we've been trying to do since Sochi is have that funnel down to one sort of communal viewing area. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of action and a lot of fun, I think, to watch all those venues from that spot. And Livigno too, the town, like just having that walking distance from town to venue is an incredible setup. Um,
Mm.
yeah,
The size and scale of that big air, we're talking about 60 meters tall, more than 160 meters in length. There are variations depending on structures and that sort of
yeah,
thing, but that's sort of the rough realm that we're talking in. I
yeah,
believe we're now looking at more than six and a half full rotations from
yeah,
a tricks perspective. So
yeah,
it is something that I think people are just going to look at and just be in awe. So Tess Cody won a bronze at Beijing from an Australian perspective, joined by Ali Hickman and Mayla Stalker. But it's a pretty wide open field, isn't it? Japan again, very good. New Zealand with Zoe Sadowski-Synnott. Great Britain's pretty excited as well about Mia Brooks.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Mia, as much as I think Zoe is probably the best all around snowboarder in the world. On the women's side of things, I do kind of feel like it's Mia's competition to lose here.
Hmm.
She's kind of hit this. I'm not sure that anybody has ever her combination of style and technical ability and consistency is like nothing I've ever seen. And Zoe's right there, but Mia's just on another level right now. Um, But to speak to the Australians, I mean, Tess is kind of a closer. She's again, the mental game's so huge in this, and if Tess is on her mental game, she's so good at putting down super clean, super stylish runs. And then yeah, you got Ali coming up. I think she's kind of she got the podium in Steamboat Big Air with again some super stylish riding, some unique tricks. And Mila, Mila's just awesome person. Got to know her quite well the last couple of years, and she's again with the style and trick selection, she's going to make some noise too. So all three of those girls super fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, really, it's going to be a bit of a shootout between Mia and Zoe, I think, at the top, and then of course, yeah, the Japanese girls. Mari Fukada is an amazing snowboarder who just hasn't really put it together yet in competition this year. But I mean, once she does, some of the most incredible runs on earth. Kokomo is heating up right at the right moment. Kokomo Murase, she won the Lax Open with just a charging run when everyone else was struggling. And then Ray Ray Iwabuchi, kind of a veteran, even though I think she's only 24 years old, but she's just kept getting it done her entire career too. So again, super stoked to watch this. It's and the cool thing about the women too is that like Kokomo Murase is doing triple cork 1620s now, which would win you a men's big air 12 years ago, kind of. So the progression there on that side is incredible, and they're going to be at the top of the game, at their top of their game, in a couple weeks for sure.
It's always overly simplistic to just talk about one nation when it comes to any event at the
Yeah.
Olympic Winter Games, but Canada's men's team with Mark McMorris and what he's done for the sport in his country, and this new generation of guys coming and pushing him. What's the vibe like with that Canadian team? And I think obviously a lot of neutrals would love to see Mark do really well, but the reality as well is he's now got a lot of company.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if to be perfectly honest, I think Mark would say this himself. He squeaked in to the games. If Liam Brearley hadn't blown his knee, there's a chance Mark would be on the outside looking in based on results. Because last year you had Frank Jobin and Eli Bouchard both win World Cups, whereas Mark hasn't been on a World Cup podium for, I'd have to double check, but it's been a few years for sure. He did just come out and win the X Games, so there's still some gas in that tank. But I've actually, from my perspective, watching Mark McMorris have to try as hard as he has over the last two seasons and come up short again and again, but keep putting his head down. I've been really impressed because Mark doesn't necessarily need the Olympics anymore. He's kind of just considered to be the GOAT. But he's still pushing because he still wants that gold and he still thinks he can do it. And what we saw at X Games, he can still do it, which is actually really exciting because, like you said, the outsiders who may not know a lot of snowboarders' names, they probably know Mark McMorris's name, and so having him there is great for the sport because it brings that interest. But also having him there riding like he is now is very exciting. But I mentioned Frank, I mentioned Eli, but then there's Cam Spalding, who was the Crystal Globe winner last year in slopestyle on the World Cup and is one of the most consistent, cleanest technical riders I've ever seen. It's insane to watch him snowboard actually because he's so clean that it's almost deceiving how hard his runs are. And Liam too had the same thing. I think Liam would have been the favorite for gold had he not hurt his knee, but I think Cam's going to step up because those guys are really good friends. So Cam's going to step up and try and take it down for the both of them. But yeah, Canadian team, Canadian slopestyle especially. I think it's just the kind of the way we ride. And this is not to take anything away from the Europeans or Japanese or whatever, but the style of snowboarding we have in North America is just it lends itself to becoming a good slopestyler. Because we just like that's I mean, maybe I'm just glorifying myself and my friends, but like it was just attacking everything on the mountain all the time, every run.
Yeah,
and it lends itself well to the slopestyle course.
On that for people who are new to the sport and they're discovering it, there's a massive judging element obviously, and sometimes I think people are pretty clear what they just saw was near unbeatable, and then they'll see another run which they'll instantly go, well, I could see that was better because of rotations or
Mhm.
how clean it was, or what should people be watching out for in terms of how they can appreciate the technical side and the execution?
Yeah, yeah. I think there's different ways to view the three different events under park and pipe. Half pipe is amplitude is pretty easy to figure out. That's a
Mm-hmm.
big one. But there's stuff like in the runs that will separate one from the other. Is a huge thing is the four directions, which is front side, backside, switch front side, switch backside. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not spinning all four of those ways in a run, you are probably not looking at a podium. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a combination of, and then there's of course the rotations, but sometimes a 10 is more impressive than a 14, depending on how it's executed and the grabs and the axes and stuff like this. So I think the I think pipe amplitude is king, but there's going to be some technical
Mm-hmm.
stuff happening in these runs that might be tough to figure out for the layperson. There was a huge controversy in Beijing because after run two, Scotty James was in first place, even though Ayumu Hirano had just landed the first ever competition triple cork in his run, and people were losing their minds that it wasn't in first. But the thing was that Scotty's run was so technical in a ways that Ayumu's wasn't, that
Mm-hmm.
people, who didn't understand the technical aspect of Scotty's run were furious. But those of us who did know were kind of like, well, it is a bit of a coin toss. So yeah, hopefully there's good commentators who can break some of this down for people
Yeah.
watching on TV. Big
It,
air,
it,
obviously, going big and spinning a lot is going to be the winner, but there's other stuff
yeah.
involved with that too, like nose butter takeoffs, nollie takeoffs, strange axes and directions. Chances are it's going to be spin to win, but there could be some different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like the highest scoring run of the World Cup season so far was Rene Kangas doing a backside rodeo 1440, I believe, but it was a nollie pop off the nose, which is insanely hard to do when you're heading into a jump at 70 or 80 kilometers an hour.
Mm.
But if you got Hiroto Ogiwara out there doing 2340s, chances are that guy's taking the gold.
Mm.
And then slope
It's
is go ahead.
No, I was just going to say yeah, it's remarkable hearing just how far people are pushing the boundaries of their imagination too, in terms
Yeah.
of conceiving the tricks and how to get to that next level, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. A huge driver in that has kind of been Marcus Cleveland from Norway, who really brought in a lot of these. It's been done forever. People have been popping everywhere you can off of their
Mm-hmm.
snowboard, but Marcus sort of brought in a lot of these um, butters and nollie pops and strange axes and stuff over the course of his career, messing around that he from his little mountain in Dombas, Norway, that are now these tricks are now being done at the top level on these massive jumps at full speed. And yeah, it's snowboarding is all about progression. It always has been all about progression and finding,
Mm-hmm.
just pushing what is possible on this stick. And yeah, when I read comments from, it's usually guys around our age chiming in on Instagram to say, oh, I'd rather see a styled out backside 540. I'm like, well, you can still see that. People are doing those all over the place. But to sit there
Mm.
and be like, I don't like progression, it's like, well, you don't like snowboarding then. This is this
Mm.
is what we do. This is what it's always been about. And if that means another 180, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the success of Eileen Gu
Mm.
from Beijing was enormous, and she continues to be a trailblazer, a figurehead, an ambassador, and everything in between. What can we expect from Eileen at Milano Cortina?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the very least, she's coming for that slope style gold that she was half a point short of in Beijing.
Mm.
She's, another athlete. I've been there since Eileen's first World Cup start and seen her become the force that she is. And she honestly, I don't know if I've ever been around a more powerful person than Eileen Gu. Like
Mm. Yeah.
she's besides the talent and the modeling and the intelligence, like she's honestly also a really cool person. Like she's super down to earth, fun to talk to, funny. but also the one of the fiercest competitors I've ever stood next to. And you know, that was shown actually. She won the Lax Open. She was on her victory lap, and she was trying to push it. She was trying to up her score on a victory lap a couple weeks ago, and she crashed really hard. Actually, it was one of those ones where I wish that she had just, you know, rode down the side of the run like most people do. But she's just always pushing, always looking for the next level. And yeah, I think she's definitely coming in for 3 golds again. That's going to be her goal again. But slopestyle has been her focus for sure. At the very least, she wants to walk away with that third gold that she doesn't have. But yeah, I would not be surprised if she took all 3. She'll be in tough against Mathilde Grimaud, but I mean, with Tess Ledoux out of the picture due to injury, it's there's not a lot standing in Eileen's way.
Ahead of Beijing, there was a huge amount of expectation, and she delivered on the snow and away from it. How big a deal has she been for the sport of skiing?
Huge, huge. I've been going to Secret Garden, I think, since 2016 or 17, for World Cup events, and the number of skiers and snowboarders you see on the hill, and just Secret Garden as an example, because that's where I generally am for the World Cups. But it's tenfold the number of people out there skiing, and from what I understand, that's across China. It affected her, Su Yiming. There's some other really good Chinese skiers and snowboarders too who aren't as well known names, but the success of their athletes has driven growth there, from what I understand, in a huge way. And yeah, it's cool to see. There's, you know, it's the own Chinese snow sports culture popping up, and I mean, that was one of her stated goals when she said that she was going to ski for China, was to try to bring more young people to the snow in that country. And it's, from what I can tell, it's been hugely successful. She's an amazing ambassador.
Who are some of the other people that you're really excited to see from a skiing perspective in Milano Cortina?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big stories is going to be the Melville Ives brothers from New Zealand, Cam and Finn. Finn's a skier and Cam's a snowboarder. Finn beat Nick Gepper and Alex Ferreira for World Champs Gold last year. And Cam came second to Scotty at the Lax Open this couple weeks ago, with an actually toned down version of his run. He went on his last hit. He's got a switch alley-oop double backside rodeo that he fell on with run 1. So he pared it down to just a single switch alley-oop backside rodeo for run 2, and still was second place, pushing Scotty. Scotty had to throw down to beat him on his last run. So the Melville Ives brothers are going to be potentially both on the podium. Incredible, super funny, like 19-year-old twins. I love these kids. Who else on the ski side of things? I think Mathilde Grimaud, like I was saying, she's the reigning slopestyle gold medalist. She's got a trick that no other girl can do that's going to put her in very good position for big air. She's doing nose butter, backside or left side 1260s, which is no other girl has a trick even really comparable to that. But it is a 2-trick final, so it's going to be, you know, she's going to have to back it up with something else. Gepper and Ferreira, who I was just talking about, those two American boys have kind of developed a little bit of a rivalry, a couple of 30-plus-30-year-olds, which is nice, you know, for us older crowd. Yeah, those guys are a bit of a rivalry, trying to play it up a little bit. I think it's going to be a fun shootout between those guys. Slope, ski, who we got on top there right now? Oh, Troy Pod Millsack, got to mention him. He's going to be a big air heavy hitter for sure. He's just a big, what's the phrase from Talladega Nights? Big hairy American winning machine. That's kind of Troy's MO. He just wants to go out there and kick ass.
Yeah.
Anybody else you're thinking of? My brain's
No, look, it's
I've named too many.
No, it's wall to wall, and I think that's probably the sort of the best way to sum it up. So Thursday, February 5th, the evening before the opening ceremony, the men's bigger qualification starts. And
Yeah.
From that moment, I think people can expect to just see things that they've never seen before, and a lot of the times won't understand. And they'll enjoy hearing the names of the tricks. And I mean, I think they will have enjoyed hearing you talk about certain tricks and the combination of words that never would go together, but they do, and it works, right? And I think that's the beauty of these sports, and what we're about to see over the next little while at the Winter Olympics in Milan, and up in Cortina.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, you're not gonna learn all of the lingo in 2 weeks, but there's gonna be some stuff to absorb and some stuff to start recognizing, for the average viewer. And yeah, just obviously people going high in the air is always entertaining and it's always fun to watch. But yeah, stuff to keep an eye out for is those different directions, different grabs, different rotations, as much as these guys, it looks like they're just spinning around. Everybody's got their own style and their own way of approaching the competition and the courses. And when you start to sort of, to me, anybody can feel the style that speaks to them. I think there's a way to relate to it in just the joy and the energy and the way somebody approaches their runs that I think can get you to that emotional connection. At least, because that, for me, a lot of the times I don't know what tricks have just gone down, but I can feel when the run was special. And I think if you can kind of approach your viewing of these events like that, you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
And just finally, I want to touch on, it's very technical, and the athletes will often have a really set plan in their mind, won't they? But it's not like something like figure skating or some of those sports where it's already declared and it has to follow a certain routine. Athletes can adjust on the run, or if they're feeling big, then they can really change. So there is that shock and awe factor for even the most seasoned viewers.
Yeah.
And that anticipation can just build, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And it's a lot. I think, like I said, we're talking about Scotty James. I think that he's got tricks that we've still never seen him do, that he's holding on to, that he is looking to drop at just the right moment at the Olympic Games and make everybody step back and go, oh shit, make the judges go, oh shit, what do we do with this? And I think most of the top dogs, ski, snowboard, men, women, have something in their back pocket that they're saving for the games, and they're going to put the judges to work in a big way, because it's something that we love, that element of surprise, that element of freedom to do something that nobody's seen. That to be the first to invent stuff, it's a huge aspect of these sports, and definitely it makes it special. It makes it unpredictable every time.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful point to finish in terms of even just trying to get your head around that pure moment of flow or precision, or that feeling of genuine vibe where you're on top of the world. And it's that moment where you are comfortable and confident enough that now's the time, and it's not just going to be a wishful moment. That trick or that run that you've been thinking about for so long and dreaming about, waking up thinking about it. It's that moment, and you can believe in it, and away you go. So fingers crossed we see plenty of that.
I know I've been at the bottom of enough of these things that I can kind of feel the tingle in the air when something special is about to happen. And it's just, sometimes it's just magic. It just all comes together in a way that is perfect, beautiful. And I get emotional still about it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. Chad, really appreciate your time. Awesome to hear your insight and expertise across it. And I think everyone can be very, very excited about what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be a big show. Can't wait myself. Great to talk to you, Will.